Good evening and Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Beth Chaim's Erev Shabbat services this Friday evening, this beautiful evening as the sun sets, as summer begins. Thank you for joining us. I don't know if you have your candles and wine out already, but if you haven't gotten them ready, I would encourage you to grab them now, lighting your own candles and sipping that wine makes for a much more sweet transition into our day of rest. We're going to start our service this evening with Yedid Nefesh. If by chance you have a Siddur at home, the Hebrew's on page 7, and there's transliteration on the first 2 lines on page 9. Yedid nefesh av harachaman, Yedid nefesh av harachaman, meshochav decha eretzonecha. Yedid nefesh av harachaman, Yedid nefesh av harachaman, meshochav decha eretzonecha. Yaharutz avdecha kemo hayal, yishtachav elai la 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 el mul hadarecha. Hopefully you're starting to relax already. The work week is done. You're gathered with family and friends and ready to rest. I want to set a little kavanah for tonight's tefillah. This week's parsha, Balak, is the source of one of the central pieces of the Shabbat morning liturgy. Balak, the king of Moab, sends one of his religious leaders essentially to curse the Israelites. But what happens is that he ends up blessing the Israelites, and the blessing is the song Ma Tovu. Those are the words of the blessing. I was struck by the timing of this parsha as we hopefully move from our time of pandemic to a time of health, from a time of curse to a time of blessing. I'll talk more about that later. First, we're going to light the Shabbat candles, and again, if you have a Siddur, you're going to find the blessing on page 5 with Hebrew and transliteration. Still figuring out the camera, so. Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. So hopefully you've lit your own candles and are looking into the light on your own dining room table, as well as here at Beth Chaim. And traditionally, it's a time when parents draw their children near and bless them. And if you, again, have a Siddur, we're going to turn to page 318. going to do the threefold blessing for peace. I'll do the blessing in three parts, and your response is, Kain Yehi Ratzon, so may it be. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Kain Yehi Ratzon. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha, Kain Yehi Ratzon. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom, Kain Yehi Ratzon. That was a little high for me. Try to start that in lower key next time. And hopefully you've drawn your children close. You've put your hands on their heads or hugged them to bless them and let them know how much you care. We're going to turn now to pages 12 and 13 for Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bohem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Hamlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seichem leShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlochim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Welcome among us, messengers of Shalom, angels of the highest one, from deep within us, majesty of majesties, the blessed Holy One. Come then in Shalom, blessing us with Shalom, leaving us with holy Shalom. From deep within us, majesty of majesties, the blessed Holy One. And some more singing to get in the mood. We're going to go to page 215, Esa Einai. Sidor's being a little uncooperative this evening. Esainai el harim me'ain yabo ezri. Esainai el harim me'ain yabo ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai ose shamayim v'haaretz. Ezri me'im Adonai ose shamayim v'haaretz. now back to page 35 for Romemu. Page number wrong. Hang on. No, I don't. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. So hopefully voices are warmed up, candles are lit, and you are joined together as a family to start Shabbat. So we're going to change, we're going to go to page 41, and we're going to sing L'chadodi. And as we always do, we're going to do the first, third, fifth, and final stanzas. L'chadodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. L'chadodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, u'shemo echad, l'shem u'tiferet b'lit hila, l'chadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, l'chadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha, kumi tehi mitochafecha, rav lach shevet b'emet habacha, vehu yachamol alayich hemla, l'chadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, l'chadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, kiva orech kumi ori, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich nigla, l'chadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela, l'chadodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nekabela. Let's do Matovu, and if you have it, I'm sorry, not Matovu, Ma Godlu. If you have a song sheet at home, it's number 14. This really is a prayer about the greatness of creation and appreciation for the world and everything around you. So if you can have that as an intention, as you sing with me, that would be really nice. Magadlu Masechaya Meoramku Makshevotecha Magadlu Masechaya Meoramku Makshevotecha. And now we actually start into the meat of the service, and the chapter end, chapter beginning, or page marker, or whatever you want to call it, is the Chatzi Kaddish announcing the end of Kabbalat Shabbat and the beginning of Ma'ariv. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divra kirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachonu v'yomechonu v'chayei dekol Beit Yisrael, v'agala uvizman kariv v'imeru, Amen. Yeheshmei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam le'ol me'ol maya, yitbarak, Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpoar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brichu le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'imeru. Amen. And now we're going to turn to page 57, and I hope you'll join me in the Baruchu. If you feel like it, why don't you stand from your dinner table or your sofa or wherever you're watching or listening in from, and join me with this prayer. Typically, we'd move now into the Ma'ariv Aravim, the prayer for the falling of evening, or the coming of evening. I'm going to move along here a little bit, and we're not going to do the Ma'ariv, but I did want to give you a little bit of kavanah about why this is here and what you might be thinking about when we actually do the Ma'ariv. The Ma'ariv really talks about the power of God as if God was, like sitting around outside his house on the porch and suddenly said, "Evening," and the sun began to fall. And of course, we know today that that's not the way it works, but it is still, to me, a miracle to watch the sun go down and disappear below the horizon and know that in the morning it's going to come back. We are truly blessed with the amazingness of the universe, and the blessing and recognition of the fall of evening is just one of those things that happens every single day and that we should enjoy in amazement. Ma'ariv Aravim. We've considered the amazingness of nature and God's supposed command of the universe and the natural things around us, and that leads, I think, to thoughts about the amazingness of God, whatever you conceive the source of everything to be. And Jews believe that source is also a source of never-ending love, of unending love. And there's a prayer that we do on Friday night called the Ahava Chant. And I think we're just going to do the English version tonight. Normally we do this responsively, but I'm just going to read it. We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us, even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us, even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled. Ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. Blessed are you, beloved one, who loves your people, Israel. The overall theme of this prayer is that God provides love in both good times and bad times. To my way of thinking, what it really means is that we are called upon to be godly. That we are called upon to give love in good times and bad, and especially in bad times when it's most needed. I hope you'll consider that and consider tonight who you want to give love to. Ahavat Olam. We're going to turn back to our tefillah page, and we're going to do the Ahava Chant. And this is a lovely segue from Ahavat Olam because it's about carrying out that spiritual intention with love, compassion, empathy, and peace. Ahava v'rachamim hesed v'shalom. Ahava v'rachamim chesed v'shalom. Ahava chesed v'shalom. Turn now to page 65 to the Shema, and we're going to put the words up for you so you can join us. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kevod Malechuto, Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadavarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uvelechtecha v'derech uveshochbecha ukumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha. I think we're going to go now to the Hoshkivy New Prayer on page 81. I always think of this as the good night prayer, so it's still a little early, but I'm going to do the English this evening. Help us to lie down, dear one, our God, in peace, and let us rise again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us the shelter of your peace, decree for us a worthy daily lot, and redeem for us the sake of your great name, and enfold us in the wings of your protection, for you are our redeeming guardian. Truly a sovereign, gracious, and compassionate God are you. Guard our going forth each day for life and peace, now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Blessed are you, compassionate one, who spreads your canopy of peace over all your people Israel and over Jerusalem. And now we're going to turn to page 85 for Vishamru. This is about our commitment as Jews to set aside this day to make sure that in times of trouble, in times of hard work, and in times of joy, that there is a time set aside for rest and for peace and for renewal. It is really the central Jewish holiday. It happens every week, and we tend to, in our busy lives, perhaps not appreciate it as much as we should, and to take advantage, to allow ourselves the permission for rest, relaxation, peace, and joy. So I urge you, when there is a commitment for work, when there is a chore that needs to be done that you really don't want to do, when there is an errand that has to be run, it can wait. It really can wait. It can wait. Guard the Shabbat. Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, lasot et ha-Shabbat, לדורותם ברית עולם, בשמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובן בני ישראל אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית olam. Let Israel's descendants keep Shabbat, making Shabbat throughout all their generations an eternal bond. Between me and Israel's descendants shall it be a sign eternally. For in 6 days the fashioner of all made skies and earth, and on the seventh day God rested and drew a breath of rest. Guard the Shabbat for yourself. So now we're going to move into a little bit of silent prayer. This is your time to reflect on the week, to reflect on your heart's desire, to set an intention to experience joy, to rest, to study, to spend time with friends and loved ones, and celebrate this day of Shabbat. As you move into this silent prayer, I just wanted to remind you a bit about the covenant that I set for this evening, curse into blessing, the story of Balak and Balaam. I hope that as you silently consider your week and your life and your loved ones, that you will consider how you are blessed. The Amidah begins on page 91 and goes through page 107. we conclude the silent prayer with Oseh Shalom, if you have it, 16 on your tefillah page. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'yimru yimru, amen. Oseh Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'yimru yimru, amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. So the Parsha this weekend is, as I said, Balak. And so Balak is, he's the king of Moab, and he's worried about the Israelites camped just outside of his kingdom. And he sends one of his religious leaders, a guy named Balaam, to curse the people of Israel so that if they enter into war with Moab, Moab will be successful. So Balaam goes off, but instead, after a brief discussion with God and a roadside visit by a sword-wielding angel, he blesses the people of Israel. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. How lovely are your tents, O Jacob, your encampments, O Israel. One could say that this was the invisible hand of God causing the blessing to come forth from Balaam's mouth instead of a curse. But I have three things to say about that. First, there is a part of this story that involves a talking donkey, a sort of Torah Mr. Ed, for those of you who might know the reference, for those of you who are old enough to maybe know the reference. God makes the donkey that Balaam is riding on stop and proceed no further. That's because there's an invisible sword-wielding angel standing in the middle of the path, but only the donkey can see the sword-wielding angel. Balaam then gets angry and he whacks the donkey 3 times. And God makes the donkey talk just like Mr. Ed. And the donkey says to Balaam, why are you hitting me? What did I do? And after he sees the donkey talk, suddenly he can see the sword-wielding angel. And the angel tells him, if the donkey had gone forward, had done what you wished, I would have slain you and spared her. And it reminds me of the fast-drawing, sheriff in those old-time westerns who says, I wouldn't do that if I was you, mister. This feels to me like an old speaker's adage, always open with a joke. But then the Parsha turns to the meat of the story, having been through a little levity with sword-wielding angels that are invisible and talking donkeys. And in the end, God convinces Balaam to bless the people instead of curse them. And today we sing out that blessing weekly in the Matovu, the opening of our Shabbat morning service. Aside from the entertainment of the opening of this Parsha, I have 2 serious things to say about it. First, we have been through one of the greatest curses of the 20th century and maybe the modern era, the COVID-19 pandemic. But from that curse, I think we've found renewed beauty, comfort, and peace in our own homes and with those we love the most. We were stuck inside, but we had more time to spend with children, with parents, and with pets. More time to enjoy our gardens and the outdoors right near our own homes. More times to do things that perhaps we did not find the time to do before the pandemic. We found blessing in a curse. Blessing our tents and our encampments. And I think that this story encourages us all to find blessing in life, even in the worst parts of it. So the second serious thing that I have to say about this parsha is we should think of Balaam as an unlikely role model. His appearance outside the Israelite camp was probably first seen as a bad omen by the Israelites, but I think that Balaam's story is that we can always be, all of us, givers of blessing. Balaam was a professional giver of curses, and in my imagination, one of the most frightening religious leaders, the last person you might expect to be giving a blessing to the Israelites. But that's just what he does. So even if the worst among us can be a source of blessing, then so should we. We should seek opportunities to give blessing, to find blessing, and to receive blessing in our lives. We should seek to turn away from those who would curse us, like the neighbor who finds fault in everyone and makes sure to point out the cloud behind every silver lining, and like the sensationalist news media who hype death and disaster all out of proportion. We should seek to be the givers of blessing to our family, our friends, and our neighbors. When you seek to criticize, visualize that fiery, sword-wielding angel that the donkey saw, and seek instead to find the good in what people do and tell them about it. Bless them with the offer of your help and counsel if they want it, to help with the shortcomings each and every one of us has. We should seek to be the receivers of blessing as well, like the Israelites in the parsha, and be thankful and appreciative of the praise that is given, grateful for the things and the people we have in our lives, and graciously, God, I'm having trouble with paper tonight. Graciously accepting the blessing of the advice and counsel of those around us who offer it honestly. I wish you blessing, just like the blessing that Balaam gave the Israelite people so many thousands of years ago. So I think the lesson of this parsha is be like Balaam. Find blessing, give blessing, be like the Israelites, receive blessing and grace, and be grateful for what we have been blessed with. Ken Yehi Ratzon, so may it be. So now we're going to go on, and we're going to sing Anna Elna off our tefillah page, and it's number 6 if you happen to have one at home. And remember, this is Aaron's prayer for Miriam when she's sick, asking God to please heal her. Anna elna refana la, Anna elna refana la, Anna elna refana la. So before I read the Mishnah Barak list for the community, I invite you to bring to mind those in your life and speak the names of loved ones and friends who are in need of this prayer. I know we're not together, and it may be only you who hears the name intoned. But the action sets the intention to call, to text, and to send a card or a pot of soup. The intention that leads to action leads to comfort and healing. God of compassion, source of healing, God who blessed Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, we pray for you on behalf of, and please intone the names of those friends and loved ones who are in need of this prayer. And Art Klein, Bill Fisher, Dave Messing, Cindy Watkin, Aaron Stagg, Bob Arnold, Laura Ben, Sandy Morris, Bryce Kelly, Tamara Grelk, Harvey Finkel, Susan Colis, Herb Holden, Lee Medavoy, Monty Garretts, Sheila Pearl, Mildred Bernstein, Aharon ben Yeruchim HaKohen, Shira Bat Chaim V'Mordechai, Liba Devora, Otto Jacoda, Daryl Davidson, Jason Moss, Cheryl Adler, Linda Ahrens, Charlotte Markowitz, Robert Glazier, David Ben David Vedina, Lorette Abrams, Naama Levana, Bat Avraham Vasara, Savion Plum, Paul Head, Judith Damwick, Naftali Ben Yidl V'Shifra, Beth Siegel, Bilcha Bat Eliyahu V'Chaya, Sipora Rachel Bat Esther V'Arya, David Ben Esther V'Arya, Binyamin Nachshon Ben Esther V'Arya, and Shira Bat Chaim V'Ruth. Bless those in need of healing with refuach shelema, and give strength to those who lovingly provide them with care, and let us say Amen. We're moving toward the conclusion of the service, and we turn to page 121 for the Aleinu. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon ha'kol la'teit gedula le'otzer breshit shenatan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam nata betochenu va'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim ve'yoser haaretz, u'moshav yakaro b'shamayim mimal, u'shchina ruzo, begovhei meheromim, hu Eloheinu en od, emed malkeinu efetz zulato, Kakatu v'torato v'yatadash hayom v'hashevota elevavecha ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim b'shamayim mimal v'al haaretz mitachat en od. V'ne'emar v'chaya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu Adonai sorry about that. Yeah, okay. Never mind. I lost my place in my train of thought. Let's move on to the Kaddish, and we have words for this, right, Mark? This one? Okay. We take time to acknowledge the passing of members of our extended community. We also want to announce the passing of Carol Mulrooney earlier this week, Zichron Levracha. She's the mother of Lisa Mulrooney Gross, and she passed away earlier this week. The funeral was today in Los Angeles. We offer our heartfelt condolences to Lisa, Randy, and their children. If you have a moment this weekend, I'm sure a condolence card would be a meaningful gesture of sympathy and support. You can find their address in the membership directory. So our yard sites for this weekend, for this week, are Esther Goldblatt, mother of Rabbi Dan Goldblatt, Richard Kern, father of Joanne Becker, Madeline Murphy, mother of Michael Murphy, Marvell Nielsen, mother of Melinda Bandler, Gail Steele, mother of Tim Steele. And if anyone else is observing a yard site at home, I invite you to say their name out loud and invoke their memory. We're going to turn to page 131 for the Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dekol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'yamru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevarach leolam ulmei olmaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabak v'yitpuar v'yit roman v'yit naseh. V'yit hadar v'yit halev v'yit halal shemei dekudesha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush bechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran v'alma v'yamru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'yamaru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. V'al kol yoshvei tevel. V'yamru amen. Just a couple of announcements. There are a couple of important opportunities for connection for our children. Religious school registration is open, and as of right now, the community expects that that's going to be in person. Begins in September with the school year, and it'll be a chance for your kids to reconnect with the community in ways that will be meaningful for them, sharing the companionship of their Jewish friends. Tomorrow morning, here on our lovely patio, there'll be a Torah Tots program for preschoolers. Bring your little ones and let them enjoy the Sabbath with a service that is oriented to them. So we conclude our service this evening with Havenu Shalom Alechem. Havenu Shalom Alechem. Havenu Shalom Alechem. Havenu Shalom Alechem. Havenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Alechem. Oh, but before you go, forgot about this. We're gonna do the Kiddush and the motzi, and you're gonna have to pretend that there's bread here because we don't have it here. I hope you'll eat bread when we're done with the motzi this evening. I'm gonna rush home and eat mine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. And now for the bread that you will eat in just a moment, and I will eat in maybe 30 minutes. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Thank you for joining us. Shabbat Shalom.